Welcome back to Court TV Live. We have a verdict in the case against Chloe Driver, the young mother accused of killing her daughter, Hannah. 1-year-old little Hannah stabbed to death by her mother. She admits she did it, but the defense here was not guilty by reason of insanity. Will the jury buy it? Let's go into the courtroom and find out what the verdict is.
Thank you. You can be seated. Mr. Foreman, has the jury reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
Is it signed and dated by you as foreman?
Yes, it is.
All right, if you could give the verdict form to the bailiff, I will inspect it before I ask you to publish it. He'll give that back to the foreman. Mr. Foreman, if you will stand, Mr. Driver and counsel, if you will stand, if you will read the jury's verdict, please.
For each count below, we, the jury, find the defendant, count 1, malice murder, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, but mentally ill. Count 2, felony murder, aggravated assault, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, but mentally ill. Count 3, felony murder, cruelty to children in the first degree, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, but mentally ill. Count 4, aggravated assault, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, but mentally ill. Count 5, cruelty to children in the first degree, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, but mentally ill. So found this 20th day of November, 2024.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bailiff, if you will allow counsel to inspect the verdict form. You may be seated, counsel. Anything else of these jurors?
No, not from the state.
All right. Members of the jury, this case will be set for sentencing on another day, likely either to be December 12th or December 18th. I'm going to confirm that with counsel after we excuse you. You are welcome to attend the sentencing hearing if you would like to. You are welcome to contact the clerk's office to find out what the sentence is after sentencing if you prefer to do that. Throughout this trial, I have cautioned you about not talking to others and not getting any media information about the case. You are now free from that. You may talk to one another or anybody else you'd like to about this case, but only if you would like to. You're not required to have any discussions with anybody, and that includes counsel or the media. And I want to say just a word. This is one of the first experiences that I have had with the televising of a trial. And what we know is that people, literally around the world have been watching us and commenting on what has transpired. And those of us, who do this for a living, we expect that. We understand that there are going to be comments, and some of them favorable, but some of them not. And we know that that's not part of your job, and that's not what you are used to. I am not in any way commenting on your verdict, meaning I have no position in favor of or against it. But what I know is that you have worked really hard. You have dealt with some unpleasant issues. You have been timely. You have, done everything that we have asked of you as far as, showing up and being here and paying attention. And so we appreciate that. We know that you've missed a lot of days of work, that you have had to reschedule appointments, that you probably had to ask a friend for childcare or something like that. And so we respect what you have done very much. And if you see comments to the contrary anywhere out there, know that everyone in this courtroom understands how hard you have worked and that we appreciate it. So thank you very much. And with that, you are free to leave.
Okay, there you have it. Guilty but mentally ill on all of these charges, meaning the jury believes that, and the defense agreed, that Chloe Driver was responsible for her daughter Hannah's death, but they believe that she was mentally ill at the time of the commission of this. This is different than not guilty by reason of insanity, which is also on the plate. Let's go back into the courtroom.
The sentencing hearing in this matter.
I don't think it will be lengthy, no, Your Honor. No, I don't think it'd be lengthy either. The only thing that I can potentially envision is if Ms. Renee Driver wanted to speak on behalf of her daughter, I would ask the court to maybe entertain the possibility of allowing her to do that via Zoom, which would be probably the only witness that we would have at that point in time.
Yeah, if they can't get up here, but we'll try to get them here, but if they can appear by Zoom if necessary, that'd be great. Either of the 2 days that the court suggested, I think probably are.
12th would be better.
12th, but Trifley says 12th is better for her, so it's fine by me.
I have no conflict on the 12th.
All right, this case will be set for scheduling on sentencing on December 12th at 9 o'clock. I'll certainly entertain a request to have witnesses appear by Zoom if that is necessary. To accommodate the witness, Ms. Driver will remain in the custody of the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office. Anything else we need to take up today?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
And we may see you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, not a lot of reaction from the defendant, Chloe Driver. She was escorted from this courtroom. The jury taking over 2 days, just about 4 hours, I believe, deliberations. They started today with about an hour and a half, so just over 3 hours, it looks like. And they determined that she was guilty on all counts, but mentally ill. And they acknowledged that she suffered from mental illness, and this was a big part of the defense in this case. Here to talk about it, Matt Johnson, who has been in that courtroom and has been monitoring this trial for us. He is on set with us. Cannon Kearney is in New York, defense attorney. Welcome to both of you. Matt, you were there watching this. Your reaction to this verdict, the jury seeming to acknowledge really the obvious, that this woman had some sort of mental illness, but also is guilty.
Well, I mean, it's a complicated case, and this is one to which the jury wasn't out for very long. When you have this area north of Atlanta where we just covered another trial, the burn pile murder trial with Melody Ferris, that deliberations went 3-4 days. There was a hung jury at one point in time, and then they came back. This one, they were looking at a lot of different other factors involved in this case because of her pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. And quite frankly, they weren't out for very long. Coming together in this very conservative part of Georgia and deciding this guilty verdict.
Cannon, not guilty, but mentally ill. It's a bit of a caveat, but it's not guilty by reason of insanity. She will be in the custody of the Department of Corrections now, not being shipped off to a mental hospital because of the distinct. Explain, if you will, what this does to her case moving forward in terms of treatment for her, and et cetera. This was a loss, you have to argue for the defense, but also an acknowledgement by the jury that this woman did have some issues, and does.
Well, good morning, Ted and Matt. I would say that the defense would feel some form of a loss. However, they should feel also that this is somewhat of a quasi type of verdict, meaning that at this point, since the mentally ill was connected with the guilty, she will be put in some type of treatment while she's incarcerated. This does also mean that since she's convicted, her name will be clearly someone who murdered her daughter. Whereas if she got the not guilty by reason of insanity, she would have not had any conviction at all. So here, the community is ensuring that someone who has this type of mental disability, this type of mental illness that actually caused her to murder her own child, is not within the community, meaning that she is going to be incarcerated somewhere. She will be getting the treatment that she needs, but she will not be able to harm anyone else.
Yeah, she'll be sentenced to prison, but given out of the gate the necessary treatment according to whatever the prison physicians believe is necessary to treat her mental illness. This Benjamin character, he was the sensei, the guy that scooped her up at a bus stop when she was 16 years old. He's scooped up other unsuspecting young women. He's out there free as a bird. And he continues to do what he does, drink his own urine, and just really ruin lives, in my opinion. Yet he is not facing the same consequences as Chloe Driver. When you were in that courtroom, was there a sense that, because the state didn't call him, and neither did the defense, they didn't want Benjamin in the courtroom, that she was a victim? Did you feel that she was a victim? That the jury, did you think, had some compassion? It seems as though with these verdicts.
Well, it appears with this verdict, yes. And I mean, there was a lot of very strange testimony in this particular case that made it very unusual, right? I mean, you had the whole polygamy aspect of it all with Benjamin Z, or whatever else he would like to be called. He has several names. He's not in custody. We heard from his first so-called wife that testified for the defense, saying that she was badly beaten and abused in the basement of a home. Benjamin's dad had to intervene. She was duct taped. She could hardly breathe, and she was on death's door. So that's someone that was already also abused by this person who met him at the age of 17. You had testimony about this cult not believing that people in the world were real, except something like 165,000 people. The rest of everybody else was robots. You had a lot of details about all of Chloe Driver's search history leading up to the murder of her daughter, which included things like, you know, can God forgive me? The view on multiple wives, how to snap a neck. She was clearly thinking about death before this act. These are all things that really played a part in deliberations, and this jury was paying close attention to also how she was behaving at that defense table. With this particular defendant, she would break down time to time, including with testimony of her mother, who tried to be one of the few people that tried to save her. There was the Good Samaritan that tried to save her, but her mother really tried to save her as well, even after she ran away from home, because she saw the control of this person, Benjamin, who the state has called a cult leader.
Yeah, and Canna Kearney, we've seen these cults manifest in other criminal cases in different forms, and you go all the way back to Charles Manson, where you had someone that's able to take unsuspecting, young, malleable brains and bring them to their own twisted world. And I would argue that everybody in the cult maybe thought this was a non-reality world, except Benjamin. He used that to have 3 women in his bed every night. But Cannon, why? It's legal what he's doing, right?
It is legal. It's just unfortunate that these cults or these individuals, they use their power to have these young women to have these delusional thoughts, or they prey on women who already have delusional thoughts. So unfortunately, he was not the individual who was tried. I don't know how much of a conviction that he would have been able to get anyway. But as Matt said, it appears that not only is the community, but the jury is really trying to assist this young woman by ensuring that she now can get the mental health that she needs. Unfortunately, she'll just be locked up.
And Cannon, as a follow-up, the nature of this crime, a 1-year-old little girl, Hannah, 13 months old, murdered by her own mother. This was not something that the jury was going to let her escape. And people don't, let's face it, we're all skeptics, and if you're thinking, well, not guilty by reason of insanity, she won't have to pay for it. And jurors don't really get the full story about what does happen to someone in that situation. But Cannon, not surprising that they would have not let her off the hook, I guess.
I totally agree, Ted. Essentially here, it's clear that the jury is saying that since they have this somewhat quasi-conviction, that they are holding her accountable and that they are ensuring that the rest of the community does not have to deal with her craziness.
Yeah, and Matt, this is a community, this is north of Atlanta, Georgia. You were there in this county at the courthouse. It's a pretty conservative area.
Conservative, very family orientated. I mean, this is a crime that had people talking in this community, and quite frankly, once we started to air it across the world, people are just in shock over what happened here. And then hearing that testimony that she felt like she had to kill her child because she felt that she herself, Chloe Driver, was the embodiment of all the sin in the world because she was being brainwashed, and by breastfeeding her 13-month-old child, she felt that all of her sin was going into the child, and that's the reason why she was having delusions of killing her. This is what the defense put forward in their case. She was someone that was evaluated 3 times, and also evaluated by the court by an independent forensic psychologist, which we don't normally see, to render this decision. So we had 3 evaluations there. She's going to be evaluated once again. She's going to be sentenced on the 12th of December, we know. And, reading with Georgia Law, hearing from field producer Tiffany Smith, we're hearing that a guilty in the state of Georgia, but mentally ill verdict is legally the same as a guilty verdict, which means that the defendant will be sentenced and incarcerated in the same way as someone found guilty of the same crime. So she's probably not going to end up at a Club Med type mental facility. She's going to end up at a high security facility, but on drugs.
Right. She'll be treated, but she'll be in prison, not a mental hospital. Cannon, stand by. Thank you. Matt, thank you. We're going to get a break here. Again, the breaking news at this hour, Chloe Driver guilty, but mentally ill of all charges. She will be sentenced on the 12th of December, a case we've been all watching very closely.